the top 10 shooting guards of the 2022 NBA season. I told you all this video was not going to be as long as the last one. Gosh, I hope that ends up being true. So that's all the intro you're going to get, and let's get right into the list with the number 10 spot, Gary Trent Jr. And you might be thinking, Mike, wait, you forgot the honorable mentions. And no, I didn't. I don't have any honorable mentions for this list because the shooting guard position is kind of cheeks this year. I'm sorry, it's the truth. It's just not a very strong position. It's not a very deep position. So Gary Trent Jr., by default, ends up at number 10, even though if he played any other position, I'm almost positive he would not be in the top 10. No offense to Gary Trent Jr., because he is having a very solid season this year. 16, 3, and 2. He's shooting pretty nice from the field. He plays solid defense for the Raptors. But there's just nothing that really stands out about him. Like, his efficiency's not bad, but it's actually not that good either. It's pretty average. 16 points a game, though, is pretty nice. He's not, like, much of a playmaker, much of a rebounder. He's a decent defender. At best, I would say he's slightly above average as a defensive player, but you know, he just doesn't do anything amazing. But he is very much a solid starting player. Just about any team would be happy to have Gary Trent on their team, and so he makes it in at the number 10 spot. That is who I've got. So moving right along, let's keep this rolling. Number 9, CJ McCollum. Now you might be thinking, why is CJ McCollum so low? He's such a good shooting guard, blah, 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 and part of it comes down to the fact that, well, he's really not having the greatest season of his career. 21, 4, and 4 are nice stats. His efficiency is not bad, but it's not great either. However, number 1, he's missed a whole lot of games. And number 2, his defense still sucks, and the Blazers still suck. That's actually 2 separate things there. So there's 3 reasons. But, look, CJ has missed a lot of games this season. He's only played 24 so far, which is about half the games of the season. And while the Blazers being bad is not his fault, it's also not entirely not his fault, because even when he plays, he is 50% of the worst defensive backcourt in the entire NBA. He's been a bad defender his whole career. He continues to be a bad defender this year. His playmaking is decent for a shooting guard. He's a solid 3-level scorer. God knows I wanted us to trade Ben Simmons for him on the Sixers before he got hurt. I really hope he gets better, too, because, like, the man, like, punctured his lung or something, and that is just, what the heck? Like, that's not an injury you hear about in the NBA. That's some craziness. Really hope he gets better. He is a very fun player to watch, but his efficiency is not amazing. It's down this season across the board, pretty much. He's only shooting 42% from the field, 70% from the free throw line, which is really a bad mark for him. And he's just not doing anything enough to get him higher on the list, especially considering how many games he has missed. So at number 8, over CJ McCollum, this might surprise some people, but I'm going to put Tyrese Haliburton at the number 8 spot, and he's having just a real good season. At first glance, the stats don't jump out at you too much. He's only putting up 14, 4, and 7, which are nice numbers for a second-year player, 21 years old, but they're not quite what you would think of when you think of top 10 player at a certain position. And once again, this partially comes back to the fact that the shooting guard position really just isn't that strong this year, but Tyrese Haliburton should not be undersold. He really has been good, and he started the season playing basically the same as last year, but as the year has gone on, De'Aaron Fox has gone out with injuries. Haliburton has really stepped up and really been the only reason that the Kings are not completely tanking this year. He's shooting phenomenally all across the board, alright, 47, 44, 81 shooting splits. And, okay, the free throw percentage actually isn't anything special, but the three-point percentage, though, like, he's shooting most of these threes, like, off the dribble. He's the main playmaker on this team with Fox off the floor, and he's hitting all kinds of, like, crazy pull-up jump shots. Like, I know that he's a decent shooter, but I did not expect him to be as good of a three-point shooter as he has been this season. And honestly, his biggest issue might be the fact that he's not taking enough shots. Like, I would love to see Tyrese Haliburton. He's averaging 11 field goal attempts a game. I would love him to get that up to 15. I really would. I know he's playing with Fox most of the time, but something should change. This kid should not be shooting only 11 field goal attempts. I'm really excited. I've always liked Tyrese Haliburton. I liked him when he was drafted, and I'm liking him even more these days. He's really looking like a great young player, so I have him here at number 8. And up next at number 7, I'm going to go with Terry Rozier of the Charlotte Hornets. 18, 4, and 3 this season. The shooting splits are pretty nice, nothing amazing, once again, but pretty nice, and he really just gets here on the fact that he's scoring significantly more, and his team has been better. I really did consider having Haliburton above him on the list, and if this list was only like December onward, he 100% would be, because Haliburton has gotten better as the season has gone on. Rozier's missed a little bit of time, and he's pretty much been the same dude from start to finish. At the end of the season, I 100% expect Haliburton to be above Rozier, but for right now, I'm gonna give Terry the slight edge because he's just having a real solid season. There's nothing too special to say. You know the defense is bad with this guy. He's just too small. He's like he's officially listed at 6'1", 190. I wouldn't be surprised if he's really like 6 foot 180, which is not a big difference when I say it out loud, but like, you know what I mean. He's a little dude. He's not stopping anybody on defense. The playmaking is decent, but not great, but he's playing with LaMelo, so it's not like he's trying to lead the team in assists or anything. I think he really does benefit from playing with LaMelo because he's a good cutter, he's a good spot-up shooter, he can take these off-the-dribble shots, both at 3 and in the mid-range. He freaking cooked Giannis the other day. Like, the dude is just a great pure scorer, and he's pretty similar to CJ McCollum, but he's played more games and his team has done better, so I'm going to give Terry Rozier the benefit of the doubt here, and I'm going to put him at number 7. Moving on to number 6, and this is, look, I'm surprised. I'm really surprised I had this dude this high, and I've been a fan of this man since before he was drafted, which is rare for me because I don't follow college players very much. Desmond Bane has been fantastic in his second year in the league. We are talking 18, 5, and 2, 47, 43, 89 shooting splits, and so far on the list, besides maybe Gary Trent Jr., he's clearly the best defensive player, which is, again, not something I expected. Like, this man has not only broken out on offense, but he's legitimately looked like a positive defender, which was a big worry about him when he came into the league. People are afraid he was too slow, he wasn't going to be able to defend other faster players, and he's done a really, really good job for the Memphis Grizzlies this season, especially when Ja Morant went out. This man, the whole team stepped up, don't get me wrong, but Desmond Bane really stepped up. He looked like a legitimate all-star player when Ja was out. His shooting has been off the charts. His defense has been solid, like I already said. He doesn't really give you much as a playmaker, and that is probably his biggest weakness right now. But everything else on offense, like, this dude is a significantly more advanced scorer than most people thought he was. He can really take guys off the dribble. He's got a very nice mid-range game. He gets to the rim a little bit, although I would also like to see him do that more. He's just a great all-around player, and I have obviously changed my stance, in case you saw it like 2 years ago, that I wanted him over Tyrese Maxey. In hindsight, very happy we drafted Maxey instead. I love Maxey. But I said before that draft that Desmond Bane was going to be a great player and that he would be a great fit on the Sixers, and clearly I was right, because this dude would be amazing playing with Joel Embiid, and he'd be amazing pretty much anywhere. He's going to be getting a fat contract at this rate whenever it is that he gets another contract. I have no idea what his contract situation is. He's in his second year, so what, like 2 years from now? I don't know, but Desmond Bane is a great young player in his second season, and I don't know how like high his ceiling is. Maybe an all-star one day? I really have no idea, but he's been great this season, and the Grizzlies really got a steal. They really got a steal with the 30th overall pick. Getting into the top 5, no offense to the guys before, like I've said, but we are finally getting into the players who you kind of expect to be on this type of list, at least higher up on the list. I am going to go with Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves with the number 5 spot. This dude has had a breakout year, 100%. 22, 6, and 4 from Anthony Edwards this season. The man looks like an all-star. He's not going to be an all-star because he plays in the West and the Timberwolves are not winning very many games, but he does look like an all-star. On the surface, those are low-level all-star numbers, and that is something fantastic from a second-year player who's only 20 years old. He has been fantastic. fantastic. And to go with those offensive stats I just said, or his overall general stats, he's also averaging 2 steals and a block. And, steals and blocks, not the end-all be-all of defense, I've said a million times, but he's really looked like a solid defender this season. Not so much in the IQ department, if I'm being honest. I feel like he's a little bit late often on making defensive reads, but what he lacks in that area, he makes up for with the fact that he is a freak athlete with a ton of hustle. All of the issues or the predictions that he just didn't care, he wasn't going to give all the effort, blah, 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 those are down the drain these days. Nobody is going to question the fact that Anthony Edwards likes basketball and he tries hard on the court. This kid has really looked like the #1 overall pick that he was predicted to be. He has been great this year. It's a shame the Timberwolves are cursed, and they're still not very good. I said at the start of the season, guys, if you thought the Timberwolves were making the playoffs, you were wrong. They're just not that good of a team. But Anthony Edwards has not been the problem for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He has been a great young player, and his three-point percentage is another thing I gotta mention real quick. 37% from three doesn't jump out at you, although it is a decent percentage, but he's taking 9 three-pointers a game. 9 three-pointers a game for a dude who I don't feel like was drafted as a three-point shooter. And 37% shooting? That's pretty freaking good. Anthony Edwards has been a great young player, and he could be an all-star as of next season. He really could. He has been fantastic. At number 4, I'm going to choose Bradley Beal, which is weird to say because he's having a down year. I feel like he's usually around this spot on the list, but he's playing worse. But the shooting guard position is also worse. So Bradley Beal is still at number 4, despite the fact that he is, by his standards, not having a great season. At first, the stats aren't bad. 24, 5, and 6. He's probably having the best playmaking season of his career, if we're being totally honest. He's really been a solid playmaker, and the rest of the Wizards have benefited. And inside the arc, Beal has been really good, 46% from the field for a pretty small player. He still finishes decently at the rim. His mid-range shots are going in. The problem comes when he shoots three-pointers. Bradley Beal is shooting 30% from 3 this season on 9 attempts a game. That's not good. Oh, I read that wrong. He's only shooting 6 attempts a game. Still, 6 attempts a game on 30%. I mean, you're shooting any amount of threes. 30% is not good. So Beal needs to find his shot because this is a 37% career three-point shooter, and he's actually gotten worse as his career has gone on. It's kind of weird. It's been trending down ever since 2018, and I'm not sure why that is. I know he's taking a few more threes a game, but not enough to justify the fact that he used to be a 40% three-point shooter, and now he's shooting 30%. I really don't know what's up with that. I don't know if there's some kind of mechanics thing going on. I really have no idea what it is, but Bradley Beal needs to get his three-point shooting back on track if he wants to be making all-star teams for the rest of his career, and if Washington wants any real chance to make some noise in the playoffs. Everyone else on this team has been outperforming expectations. Kyle Kuzma has been way better than anyone expected. Montrezl Harrell is looking like his 6th Man of the Year form once again, but Bradley Beal has not stepped up, and he needs to make threes, because at the end of the day, he is still 100% the lone star on this team, and if he's not making his three-pointers, this team is a first-round exit, even if they can make the playoffs. Finally, we are at the top 3, and choosing between number 2 and number 3 on this list was very difficult for me. These are 2 fantastic players. I mean, these top 3 players are all very, very good players. But number 2 and number 3, I went back and forth for a while, and eventually I had to settle on Donovan Mitchell at number 3. Donovan Mitchell this season is averaging 26, 4, and 5 with 2 steals, and he's shooting 45, 35, 88% from the field. Or from, the different areas. You know what I'm talking about. Now, the free throw percentage is fantastic. The percentage from the field is very nice, and it's the best of his career. The three-point percentage, however, is what just barely holds Donovan Mitchell back for me. 35% from 3 is an okay number, but not good enough to justify shooting 9 threes a game. And he actually started the season very, very hot from 3. He was shooting like 40% in the first month of the year, and I was like, oh my god. Donovan Mitchell might be like a borderline superstar, and then his three-point percentage fell back off, and everything else in his game has also very slightly fallen off as a result. Now, he's still a fantastic player, one of the best offensive players in the league. He is an efficient scorer for someone scoring so many points. His team is phenomenal, and you can certainly make the case, and I would actually say I have accepted that he is the best player on the Utah Jazz. He's a solid playmaker. His defense is not great by any means, but I don't think it's bad either. Like, if anything, he's a slight negative on the defensive end, but not to the extent that I would say he's like genuinely detrimental to his team. He's just an all-around very good player. He's a great scorer. He can get anywhere on the floor. He gets to the rim very well. He's got a nice mid-range game. He does everything you want a shooting guard to do, especially one who is a star. I just need the threes to fall a little bit more. For him to get over the hump from wherever he is right now, probably like around the 15th best player in the league, to get into that top 10 conversation, he needs his threes to fall some more. And so just barely above Donovan Mitchell, I have Devin Booker. And Devin Booker, to some eyes, right, if you're not paying attention to the Suns, you're only looking at the stats, might look like he's actually having kind of a down season. He is shooting worse from the field this season, and his points per game are the lowest they have been since 2017, when he was only in his second season. But the efficiency from three is huge. Devin Booker is shooting 41% from 3 on 6 attempts a game, and while those are not Steph Curry numbers, well, Steph Curry in a season where he's not in a massive slump, I should say, they are very impressive numbers nonetheless, and Devin Booker has just been fantastic on a team that is currently leading the league in wins, I believe. As I am recording this on January 11th, I'm pretty sure the Phoenix Suns are the first seed in the NBA. They've just passed the Warriors, so he's been fantastic. He has arguably been the best player on his team, the best player on the best team in the entire league. His defense has come along. He's not a negative like he was years ago. I don't know if I'm willing to say he's a positive yet, but he's pretty much neutral on the defensive end at this point. And while his points per game have gone down, he has way more help than he used to. I would say this is still the best scoring season of his career because of how fantastic he has been from the three-point range, even though he's not actually scoring as many points as he was last year and the few years before that. Devin Booker is a great player, and normally he would be the best shooting guard in the league, but unfortunately, Zach LaVine this season has just been on another level. Like, if you didn't think Zach LaVine was going to be number one on this list and you are aware that James Harden is a point guard, hell, even if James Harden was a shooting guard, Zach LaVine would still be number one this season. He has been ridiculous. 26, 5, and 4, 49, 41, 87% shooting splits. Do I really need to say anything else? I will say some other things. The Chicago Bulls are currently the first seed in the Eastern Conference, and DeMar DeRozan has been their best player. But all season long, it has still been a discussion as to whether or not Zach LaVine is actually, secretly, the best player on this team. And I will give the edge to DeMar because of his clutchness and because of his playmaking, but Zach LaVine is right there. He is right there on the cusp of being a legitimate superstar in the league and being the best player on the best team in a conference. This kid is amazing. We've been waiting years for Zach LaVine to finally get some help on his team, and he's done it. He has done it, and look at the results. Insane efficiency and a frick ton of wins. And on the defensive end, he's still not great by any means. I would say he's still a legitimate negative, but he's not the abysmal, like, Trae Young level dude he used to be, just because he's actually trying now. I don't know if he's ever going to be even a neutral defender, because he just does not have a good defensive IQ. I'm sorry, it's the truth, Bulls fans. He's not a smart defender in the slightest, but now that he's giving actual effort with his team winning, he's not like some massive negative either. So there's not a big hole anywhere in Zach LaVine's game. He can score from anywhere on the floor while being incredibly efficient from every area of the floor. So Zach LaVine is the best shooting guard in the NBA. The Chicago Bulls are the best team in the East, and it's really that simple. The man has been fantastic. So that is my list. That is the top 10 shooting guards in the league this season. Please like the video. I really appreciate you if you've watched this long into this video that is still much longer than I intended it to be, and let me know in the comments what you agree or disagree with. Thank you all for watching.